Welcome to Waking Up America, the Not Morning Show. Today's news, Diane Feinstein, the Wicked Witch of the West, announces that she won't seek re-election, and Biden taps into our fuel reserve again. Let's talk about this while we still can. I am your host, Alexander Graves, the Constitutional Conservative. If you guys enjoy this content, please consider following us on Twitter at Waking America Up. Let's get into it. Long-serving Democratic Senator Diane Feinstein of California, who has been in office for more than 3 decades, will not seek re-election in 2024. Thank God. We need term limits. This lady is the perfect argument for term limits. She looks like the Wicked Witch of the West. Again, if you guys enjoy this content, please consider heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/wakeup. You guys can support us there. Subscribe or donate as much or as little as you like. Regardless, I will continue speaking my voice. The 89-year-old senator who took office in early November 1992, just let that sink in, and will turn 90 later this year, is the oldest current member of the U.S. Senate and longest serving female senator in the nation's history. I don't care what side you're on, Republican or Democrat, there's no reason these people should still be in office at this point. They should have been retired in their 60s. We need term limits. We need an age limit, honestly. These people are out of their mind. So I've got a lovely clip here of Diane Feinstein arguing with children. And it's great because it's leftists arguing with leftists, and the one leftist brings children as her political weapon. It's just funny to watch. Here we go.
And share this letter, and we're gonna do it all together. Yeah. Share it in front of Feinstein. We're asking her to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Please.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if
is
this doesn't get turned around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people, and all
I love that they've managed to indoctrinate these children with fear that they actually think the world is going to end in 12 years. It's not.
what's interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your
How old are you?
job.
How old
I'm
are
16.
you?
I
Well,
can't
you didn't
vote.
vote for me.
I'm 24.
I'm 16. I can't vote, but I voted for you. Well, at least a lot of dead people did. Typical tyrant from California. We can celebrate today, but let's be honest, it's just going to be replaced with a younger, more extreme progressive that's going to push things even worse. But she is the champion of gun control, so I will take the victory for today. Let's get into the next story of the day. As I mentioned earlier, Biden has tapped into our fuel reserves again at such a wonderful time while we have China literally at our doorstep. Let's get into it. Biden administration to sell another 26 million barrels of oil from reserve to prevent uptick in fuel prices. If you haven't noticed, there is now again a dollar discrepancy minimum between diesel and regular grade fuel. This is because it is being artificially reduced. You can notice this every time. Every time there's this huge discrepancy there, it's because he's using and tapping into the barrels of oil from our emergency fuel reserve, which is specifically designated in the event that we are attacked nationally or have to go to war. He is tapping into that to artificially lower the price of gas again. And when you see that discrepancy, you know that's exactly what's happening. He's also been selling this gas to China. Hello? Our enemy. Honestly, that is grounds for treason in my book. Let's continue. The Biden administration announced on Monday that plans to sell another $26 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to prevent a rise in fuel prices. Quote, Biden is front-loading SPR barrels to avoid a summer gasoline price spike. There are growing concerns among the Biden administration that gas prices are headed back to $4 a gallon, and the president is fearful of the political heat he will have to take. Again, it's kind of a non-issue right now, considering your disapproval rate is still 52%. Half of America hates you, but somehow you're the most voted and most lovable president in American history. Right. Okay. So while Biden is putting us at the weakest point in history for national defense, and this is seen at his actual State of the Union address. I've got a quick video here of the military briefly after. Well, you can just watch it. Here we go.
Today, we're in the strongest position in decades to compete with China or anyone else in the world.
Yeah, I don't think the military agrees with you there, buddy. Thankfully, we have some good news here. The House has recently passed bills that would restrict future sales of reserve inventory, including preventing the federal government from selling oil reserves to the Chinese government. Why the hell was that legal in the first place? The Republican majority in the House also passed legislation that would increase production in the United States by requiring the Department of Energy to develop a plan to allocate more federal land for oil and gas leasing prior to initiating a non-emergency drawdown from the SPR. This is why we need to take back the Senate here. We need full control of the government so we can rein some of this in, because this is getting absolutely out of hand. China is readying itself for war. I've mentioned this several times. If you watch my past videos, you guys know they are waging a 100-year war against us. And boy, I have a lovely video for you. We are not prepared for this. So this is a straight from a Chinese school. Whether it's state Chinese propaganda, I don't know, but I would love to see this in our schools, honestly. So they're teaching these kids to field strip pistols. Recently saw a video of them teaching them to jump on grenades. More than likely CCP propaganda, but they are preparing for war. There is no reason that any peaceful nation would be doing this and training up their youth to be soldiers like this if they did not have the intention of fighting a war. They are preparing for the next 10 years. They do plan on taking Taiwan back. And while they're doing that, European Union approves the effective ban on sales of gas cars by 2035, requiring 100% reduction in CO2. We are so focused on environmental bullshit. It's like these people have not taken a science class in their life. CO2, plants, grass, trees convert it into oxygen. Oxygen is good. European Parliament has formally approved a law that will effectively end the sale of gas and diesel-powered vehicles in the EU by 2035, calling for 100% reduction in CO2 emissions for any new car sold. Boy, this couldn't possibly go terrible at all. Got another headline here. For some electric vehicle owners, recharging now more costly than filling up with gasoline. I wonder where this is going to go when we convert everything into electric vehicles. Quote, just a few months before the announcement in May 2022, car makers such as Ford and Volvo even signed a joint letter with 26 other companies asking the EU to implement such a plan. Ford is not on our side. Ford is not a patriotic company. They're in full support of this climate change bullshit. And it's going to be hilarious when there's just rolling blackouts going everywhere because people are eating up way too much energy with these electric vehicles. In fact, you won't even be able to charge most of these vehicles in the EU following 2035. Their expectancy here is that they're saying most gas vehicles will last about 15 years. So we will be completely at 0% emissions, all fully electric cars by 0%. This while they are challenging and fighting against clean coal, they're fighting against nuclear energy. So where's this electricity going to come from? We have power grids almost at maximum capacity. When you take this and you push everybody into an electric vehicle, where do you think that's going to go? It's going to end in energy crisis, and they're going to regret this, and it will be hilarious. So unfortunately, like I said, we are too focused on this climate change BS to notice what is going on in front of our face, and that is the fact that China is preparing for war. Like I've said in previous videos, they are making bases down in Argentina. They are flooding into our border with spies and dissidents, and they are training their youth to fight. They are preparing for the next 100 years of war against us. We must be ready. But people will not wake up. So, if you guys enjoyed this content, please consider following us on Twitter at Waking America Up. If you guys want to see more of this, please head on over to buymeacoffee.com/wakeup. I believe we can take this country back. I believe this is our year. I believe the conservative movement will light a fire this year, and we will have some pushback on this, and hopefully we will be ready in the long run. Appreciate you staying with me. Keep up the good fight. Stay frosty.